another episode of This Week in Santa Clarita. Today we're going to go ahead and get started by catching up with Evan Thomason, who's out at the newly remodeled Sierra Highway Bridge project with Terry Bryce.
Hi, this is Evan Thomason with This Week in Santa Clarita, and right now I am joined with Terry Bryce, Assistant Engineer for the City of Santa Clarita and Project Manager for the project we're about to talk about. Terry, what is the project we're about to talk about, and where are we right now?
This is the Sierra Highway Bridge over the railroad tracks. It's about 1.5 miles south of Soledad, just north of Villa Princesa. This structure was actually two structures. The southbound structure was built in 1968. The northbound structure was built in 1938. That structure was deemed to be replaced. So what we did was we demolished the northbound structure and we built a center median structure, its own bridge. Then we rebuilt a structure next to it. So we have a new northbound structure.
Okay, so as we're looking at the deck right here, the side that's closer to us is the northbound structure, correct?
That's correct, yes. And that structure is brand new, as you see it. There was no raised median as you see now. What we had before was a gap between the two structures. The southbound structure on the far side of what you're seeing right now, we had a methacrylate surface treatment that basically filled all the cracks in the deck. And what that does is it makes for a stronger surface and structure, and also prolongs the life of the structure.
So the deck close to us was completely replaced, and that was built in, what did you say, 58?
1938, actually, yes.
1938. So the deck that's farther away from us, the southbound deck, we were able to treat without completely rebuilding.
That is correct. And what we were able to do is, with this project, we were able to complete it in such a manner as to keep 2 lanes of traffic going in each direction.
So how long have you been working on this project?
We started this project back in August of 2006. It's been almost a couple years now. We're wrapping it up as we speak, and it was a challenge being the project that it was within the confines of where we were at, over the railroad tracks and the flood control. There's a lot of things going on in this spot, but we were able to successfully get it done.
So this is a pretty big project. Who were some of the people that we partnered with? Where did we get the money, and how was this project able to happen?
Well, that's a good question. What we were able to do was we were able to take federal money that was granted to the city through the Highway Bridge Replacement Rehabilitation Program, and we took that funding and used Metro's state funds to match it. So we have state and federal money to build this project with no local dollars being used by the city. So some of the agencies that we worked with were Caltrans, Metro, we worked with Metrolink, the California Fish and Game was involved to oversee their jurisdiction, the Army Corps of Engineers was involved, there was a lot of people involved, the LA County Flood Control District was involved, a lot of oversight. Well, this project, including all inspection, everything included, the budget's right around $8 million.
Well, $8 million, and through the cooperation with several agencies, we were able to get this done with no local dollar spent. Why don't we talk about some of the design features of the bridge? And then I know that if we're looking over at the side, we see something that's very familiar for a lot of the projects we do. Can we talk about the design features of the bridge?
Sure. This is a concrete barrier wall with ceramic tile accents that, as you mentioned, are seen at a lot of the bridges throughout the city, and we like to keep a consistency there, so as you drive through, you're familiar with where you're at. The bridge itself, we were able to widen the lanes to standard lane width, so we have a 12, 11, 12 lane width that's 12 feet, 11 feet, 12 feet, whereas before it was less than that, and so you had a bottleneck as you traveled along Sierra Highway. You would be in a wider lane, come to the bridge, it would narrow. Right. So in traffic, they don't want to see that. So this project, not only did it create a more structurally sound bridge, but it also created better standards for the motorists.
Right, better traffic flow, because exactly when motorists dealt with too many options, sometimes they slow down a little bit. So that's an important point. I know that we have some before and after pictures that you've supplied. Can you talk about what this looked like before and kind of in conversely how it looks now?
The way it looked before was you had a structure on the east portion, the northbound, separated with a gap, and then you had the southbound structure, and you'd have guardrail separating the two structures. And deck was a little deteriorated, narrower lanes, and the railing was substandard. You had sidewalks that were not ADA compliant. And now, after this project being completed, you have ADA compliant sidewalks, you have a raised median, everything's been improved.
So the end result with this project is we now have a bridge that's going to be safe well into the future, increases traffic flow, and it's shored up beneath us for earthquake stabilization. That true?
That's very true. We can go down below later and look at that, but there were some engineering features that were utilized to improve its seismic abilities.
So here we are at ground level at the Sierra Highway Bridge project, and Terry, tell us what we're looking at behind us.
What you see here now is the underside view of the bridge that we were just standing on top of, and you're able to see from this vantage point the railroad tracks, the columns. There's an energy dissipator down below. We have a railroad trellis bridge.
When you say energy dissipator, what's that?
That's a structure that is at the bottom of a slope, and it's basically taking all the energy and velocity out of the stormwater that's flowing down, so it controls the flow as it enters into the concrete line channel. It also helps to protect the railroad's bridge.
So we have a lot going on down here, and we notice that the train tracks run underneath the bridge. The bridge is highly traveled, and we're also in a wildlife corridor, as I understand. Is that true?
That is true, actually. The surrounding vegetation is such that it contributes towards the Santa Clara River. It takes all the water and runs towards the river, and with that comes vegetation and small critters that like to get to the river. And we work closely with the Department of Fish and Game to ensure that this project had no negative impacts on the wildlife, the vegetation.
Which is certainly one of the challenges. Talk about the challenge of building the bridge and stabilizing the bridge over a working Metrolink track.
Yeah, that's actually the number one factor for this project that caused the most amount of concern was two things. Basically, making sure that the Metrolink's commuter rail service and also their freight train service was not disrupted by this project. The second thing that was very important to ensure was that the construction workers were safe at all times. And so what we had was a flagman from the Metrolink agency on site at all times while we were constructing to inform us when a train was coming, keeping us safe at all times. And so we had to work very closely with Metrolink to ensure that both those things, the service and the safety, were considered and maintained at all times.
That's great, and I know that something that's always on the mind of Santa Clarita residents is earthquake preparedness and hoping that all of our infrastructure meets the needs of a big disaster. Can you talk about what the stabilization will mean to the bridge?
Well, one of the factors in the design was to include isolation casings, and you can see at the base of the columns, you'll see the black corrugated sheet metal. And what those are hollow cans surrounding the columns. And what that allows for is the bridge structure to be able to sway and move with seismic activity and not create a plastic breaking point where if you didn't have those, you would have that, and then the bridge would then crack and at the columns it would have a breaking point. With the isolation cans, you don't have that anymore. It's more flexible, and so you have a better structure to withstand seismic activity.
So Terry, certainly a very impressive project. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I'd just like to emphasize the point that there was a lot of agencies involved, and the success of this project was due in large part to the coordination between all the agencies to ensure that their facilities and structures were maintained in a functioning way. I'd also like to thank John Spaglione, who was the resident engineer for this project. He did a great job in supporting me. I'd also like to thank Robert Newman and Curtis Ney for giving me the support I needed to do this project.
Thank you very much, Terry, for joining us today. Certainly, the Sierra Highway Bridge project, a very impressive project and one that Santa Clarita residents will be reaping the benefits of for years to come. For This Week in Santa Clarita, I'm Evan Thomason.
Thank you for that, Evan. Now we're going to go catch up with Byron Malone, who's going to give us some information on the city free sign giveaway that's going on right now.
The city is taking down the old signs and replacing them with new signs.
The old ones are the green ones, right, that are throughout?
Right, and we're stockpiling those in the public works yard, and they're going to be available to nonprofits and schools who contact the city. The design started around 2004, and we started putting them up after some design around 2007, and now we have a bunch of old signs available. Nonprofits have to contact the city. They can go to the city's website, that's santa-clarita.com. There they'll find in the lower left-hand corner of the webpage, they'll find a link to a form that they can fill out, giving some contact information, a little bit about why they want to use the sign or what they're going to use it for, and then they just send that, and an email will show up in our box, and we will process that. We'll contact the nonprofit. They'll tell us what signs they want. They get to have 3 signs depending upon availability. So they'll contact us, and we go from there.
So city residents actually have the opportunity then to get their hands on the signs. It's not like the city's only giving them to the nonprofits. The nonprofits are then in turn going to make them available to the residents. Is that correct?
That's correct. They're doing different things where they can use the funds to benefit the community. The Red Cross is giving some away. Different organizations, Special Olympics is helping people out. And so it's just another way that somebody else can make money off of it, but we're not going to make any money off of it, but the nonprofits, it'll go to them for a good cause, and the residents will end up ultimately having the signs.
Remember to check out the city's website for more information on the free sign giveaway. Now we're going to go catch up with DJ Hamburger, who's going to give us some information on the recent Youth and Government trip to City Hall.
Hi, this is DJ Hamburger with This Week in Santa Clarita. In the beginning of June, the city kicked off its annual Youth and Government program. Today, we'll be looking at some of the participants and some of the people that helped make it happen. The Youth and Government summer internship started off in early June and lasted until the beginning of July. The program takes high school-age students and gives them a first-hand look at how city government works. The program is comprised of 15 students who are each assigned an internship for various city positions. The students also participated in field trips and other activities. At the end of the program, the students will have experienced an up-close look at city government firsthand. The program started off with students getting to know one another. After the first day of icebreakers, the interns took a tour of City Hall, getting a behind-the-scenes look at various departments within the city where the various programs and projects within the city are developed. This was followed by a tour of Santa Clarita, where students could see firsthand the city projects that began as ideas at City Hall. From there, the students began their intern assignments. The Youth and Government interns actually went through a job interview process to determine where they would be assigned. Some opportunities included positions at the Sheriff's Department, Fire Department, Community Center, Economic Development, and City Manager's Office. Going back and forth between intern assignments and group meetings, the youth interns also fitted in a trip to downtown LA to visit the LA County Board of Supervisors. This was interesting because we not only got a look at how city government works, but how the county works as well. We also took a tour of Union Station and met with an executive from Metro. We were asked to give input and suggestions. After that, it was a short break to Olivera Street and back to the city. Back in Santa Clarita, the Youth and Government participants also met with top city officials. This was very insightful because we now had a deeper understanding of how the city worked. And now I'm with the Youth and Family Program Supervisor, Brittany Batong. So tell me, Brittany, how has this year's program been so far?
It's been fantastic. We have an awesome group of students this year, and they're very enthusiastic, and everybody's having a really good time, I think.
What was the intention of this program?
The original intention of this program is to help young people who are in high school to have a better understanding of how their local government operates, and also to gain some leadership skills that are useful in everyday life and in work. I think a lot of times students learn about their federal government and they learn about their state government. Unfortunately, they don't really get the opportunity to learn about their local government. And this really gives them an idea of how their local government works and what sort of part they play in their community.
What's impressed you most about the participants in this program?
I think their level of understanding and interest in our local government, the kinds of questions they come up with when we have different city officials come in and present to them. I think that for us to have this program, obviously we feel it's important for young people to be a really key part of their community. And I think every year I meet with the young people who want to be a part of this program, I'm impressed at how much of a interest they do have in their government, how much of a part they do want to play. And I think it's really important to help encourage them to continue to keep that interest and continue to really want to participate in their local government. That's what makes our community such a strong one.
And we're here now with a program participant, Nicole Oviedo. So tell us, Nicole, how did you hear about youth in government?
I heard about it in the SCB magazine.
Why did you decide to apply for it?
I thought it would be a good experience for me.
How has this experience been for you?
It's been very helpful in learning how local government works.
How has this program helped you in terms of what you want to do for your career?
Well, it gave me many job opportunities that I could consider in the near future.
What type of field would you like to go into?
Fashion.
And as you can see, this year's Youth in Government Summer Internship Program was a lot of fun, and we all learned a lot. For This Week in Santa Clarita, I'm DJ Hamburger.
Thank you for that, DJ. We appreciate your participation in the Youth in Government program. And remember that the city sponsors many different youth programs. Check out the website for more information. Now we're going to go catch in with Scott Grohl, who's a recent artist for the Heritage Bear Project.
Hi, this is Jeff Barber for This Week in Santa Clarita. In the next few weeks, we're going to focus on public art projects throughout the city. We're going to start with our California Bear Project, and we have artist Scott Grohl here, and we're going to go to him and ask him some questions about the project. I'm here with Scott Grohler, the artist for the Heritage Bear here, and we're going to talk to him about the project and get some insight. Scott, please tell me about the inspiration for the bear. Why did you choose the photographs, and just give me some background about how it went in this direction.
The idea for the bear started with the city of Santa Clarita, and they decided to create an art project that was similar to the LA Angels or the cows from the Midwest. The bear was a logical choice, and I really liked the idea of the bear. They decided to initiate the project with the bear that would sit right here, which would be called Heritage Bear. So the title of the park and the title of the bear itself sort of inspired the ideas for putting the images on it. But I wanted to create a photo collage that would represent the history of the Santa Clarita Valley and also explain what's going on in the valley right now. So what I did was I chose to pull images from a lot of different sources, historic sources, and then also artists and photographers working in the area. I chose to use the historic photographs on one side of the bear and create a sepia tone collage. And I chose to cover the other side with these contemporary color photographs.
Why did you choose the opposite sides?
It's simply a distinction. It's a natural line that would separate the old from the new, and by doing so, it created this impression of the bear from one angle that would be completely different from the rest, which is something that I think fits pretty well with the history of this valley, which is that it came from one place, which is this very western terrain, Indian place, and it's evolved into this explosion of excitement and color and life and this suburban neighborhood, and so I wanted to make that distinction. So you can see that from viewing it from one side, you can see all of the contemporary stuff. The other side houses the historic.
And how many photos are on total?
There are over 400 photographs on this thing, and none of them are larger than 8 by 10-ish. Some of them are a little bit smaller, but yeah, quite a collection. I've got a good collection from the whole valley of these photos.
So people sent some of these photos into you?
Yeah, some of the photos, let's start with the historic side. I contacted the Historical Society, and Leon Warden, who's running the image archive there, was gracious enough to allow me to have access to all these historic photographs that he's got. And so most of those historic photographs came from the Historical Society. The color photos on the contemporary side came from the community. They came from the fine photographers at the Signal newspaper and the Daily News. Brian Knighting gave me a lot of photographs. David Crane from the Daily News gave me a lot of photographs. And a lot of photos came from the community. The Santa Clarita Photographers Association pulled together a collection. And some just came through email from citizens. And
How long did I'm sorry to interrupt. How long did it take you to complete the bear from the blank bear to what we see right now?
The process was kind of invisible for a long time because I did the collecting, and that took a long time to get and to amass all of these images and cull them down and to get them edited so that they would fit. And then started the printing process. I was printing these things for quite some time, 2 or 3 weeks. It was a slow but sort of regular process. Once I got everything printed and cut out and ready to go, I did it within 48 hours. I stuck them on there within 48 hours.
Any photos dear to you here? Anything you want to point out?
I've got my boys on there, so those are of course dear to my heart. But there are a lot of photos from my family. I think I'm on the foot here. I think that my boy's on top right here. I think I've got another kid right about there. There's my wife. But there's a lot of things that are really just poignant images to represent the valley, and it's sort of self-explanatory when you see it. I don't like to talk about specific images too much, but I hope that they represent the whole valley. I try to get as much inclusion as possible. From the historic side as well, I also went to the Tavim Indian folks, and they were nice enough to give me a collection of photographs. So there's plenty of equal representation, I hope, on the bear.
So anything else you need to add, Scott?
Well, I was really excited to do it, and I'm really grateful to all the photographers who contributed images. There's actually there's a little secret hidden Easter egg underneath. A lot of people see the sides of it, but not many people crawl underneath. If you crawl underneath, there's a list of credits for all the people who submitted photographs and that were used on the bear. So that's
Great.
something special you can look for.
All right. Well, thank you, Scott, very much for talking to us about the Heritage Bear, and folks, stay tuned for future installments about public art in the city of Santa Clarita.
Today I'm here at the Santa Clarita Valley Food Pantry to find out about the food drive that will be happening throughout our city in the month of August. I'm here with Belinda Crawford, the director of the food pantry, to find out more information. Hi Belinda, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So we're going to be having a food drive. That's awesome.
Oh, we're very excited. This is the time of the year we run very low on food. The children are out of school, so there's a much higher need. They're eating all of their meals at home. They're not getting the free breakfast or lunch programs at school. So the summertime is a higher need for food pantries. And then, of course, that means that we distributing more food and our shelves start to get low. So we need more help during the summertime.
Definitely, and with the higher gas prices and food prices, I saw something that, there's an increase this year from last year.
We've had a 53% increase in the number of clients at the food pantry this year over last year, the same period of time. So we're seeing a lot of families, maybe one parent family, maybe single moms, who were struggling in the past to put the food on the table and support their children and support their families, that are now forced to turn to food pantries for help.
Well, that's great that we're here for them. So more about this food drive we're doing. Where are the locations? What types of food are we going to be needing?
We need all types of food. The items that we run low of first are peanut butter, tuna, macaroni and cheese, canned beans, canned fruit. So any type of non-perishable items are wonderful. We distribute almost 2,000 pounds of food a day now to our neighbors in need. We're open Monday through Thursday from 9 till noon, and we can easily see 50 families during that time, maybe 200 individuals in the families totaling 200 individuals. The food drive, we're so thrilled that the city is going to do this for us. I think they've named it the Summer Food Drive, and there will be bins just like this at different locations throughout the city. The City Hall, the TMF maintenance facility, as well as the aquatic center. We have all different types of families that we distribute food to. It's basically low income and what the city would describe as extremely low income families. We have a senior outreach program for senior citizens on fixed incomes, and many of them are making between $635 and $812 a month total Social Security. We have single parent families, sometimes two parent families that are both working and just, maybe they're making slightly over minimum wage, so they just can't support their families. We also distribute food to homeless, and we try to use the pop-top cans, the easy things, because many of the homeless can't cook. Now, during the time that the winter shelter is open, we refer our homeless clients to the shelter where they can get a hot meal and a place to stay. But then once the shelter closes in the middle of March, then many of the homeless clients start to come here to pick up their food as well.
Very great. So this is a nonprofit. I noticed there's tons of volunteers everywhere. How do you get so lucky to get so many volunteers?
We are very fortunate. Our volunteers are the best volunteers in the world. I've worked with different volunteers in other organizations here in California and Kentucky and Tennessee, and we have got the best volunteers in the world. We're not a glitzy and glamorous, nonprofit. We are very grassroots, and we stretch those dollars until old George screams. So we do the very best we can to provide as much food for our clients as possible. Our volunteers are here for the right reason. They have the hearts to help others, and they are our hearts and the hands of the Santa Clarita Valley Food Pantry. We've been in Santa Clarita for 22 years, and we've been distributing food to low-income families during that time.
That's great. Well, I'm just so excited that we're actually going to be able to, do something to help out the food pantry this time of year. So once again, just the locations, I believe it's August 4th to the 29th?
August 4th through the 29th, the entire month of August, and we're looking at City Hall. We'll have a Blue Barrel, the Metro Transit maintenance facility, and then as well as the Aquatic Center in Canyon Country.
Summertime means good times with the City of Santa Clarita's Concerts in the Park series. Come out to Central Park each Saturday at 7 p.m. for a great lineup of music, including Queen Nation, Hollywood U2, The Craze, and a whole lot more. Family, fun, and entertainment all summer long at Central Park. Check out the full lineup online at santa-clarita.com, and don't miss the Concerts in the Park series. This message is sponsored by Time Warner Cable.
Strangers in the night.
Someone asked old Blue Eyes how you got to be a great singer. He answered, you sing great songs. And we have 56 great songs on stage at the Canyon Theater Guild in Old Town New Hall. In My Way, a musical tribute to Frank Sinatra. August 1st through September 6th. Call for tickets now, 799-2702. Do it my way.